I think I got most of it. So there's a scientist who was the one who was after the cell in the first place. He is Dr. Shiragami, I think it is. Yeah,
Yep.
Dr. Shiragami,
Shigami.
Koji Takahashi. He's the mad scientist who creates Biollante. His daughter is killed unintentionally, but there's an explosion at a research center. She dies, and then 5 years later, he's still mourning after her. Understandable. So he creates this plant with her DNA in it and Godzilla's DNA in it, and it goes rogue and tries to kill people, and people run after it. But the main plot, like it all fine. Little side details, one line of dialogue here and there, is what made me love this film. There's just an offhand remark that when when Shirigami is being visited by a friend of his, we find out that his friend, who is the father of the woman who's visiting him, has a plan to create a sperm bank
I know, right?
populated with Nobel Prize winning sperm. This is never come back to, never readdressed in the entirety of the rest of the film, and I'm going to guess the franchise. I'm not okay with that.
You know how in the first, in the Phantom Menace, when they talk about midichlorians,
Yeah.
and it never gets discussed again, and everyone's like, when there's a plot point or something in a film, we're like, oh, midichlorians, and oh, that's the film's midichlorians. Well, now we could say, oh, that's the film's Nobel Peace Prize winning sperm bank.
Because that's a whole separate film. It's like some kind of Vince Vaughn comedy where his sperm accidentally gets put under somebody else's name, and anyway, it's. It took me a long time to get over that line of dialogue, that just brief chat between these two characters, and trying to work out, okay, where's this going to go? Nowhere. No, that's it.
It put a smile on my face. Oh, well, I'm glad you liked it, because that is something that when I suggest more off the beaten path films like this, because if someone wants to suggest a Godzilla film, they're going to immediately probably go for the Roland Emmerich. Then they're going to go for the newer ones that just
I don't
came
think
out.
they are. I think I'm the only fan of that one.
Well, no, I'm just saying, in just a John Q moviegoer,
Right,
in general,
okay,
they
yeah.
would say Godzilla like this, that. They wouldn't immediately go to oh, let's watch the 1954 original, or you know what I mean? They
in
might
the
throw
modern Western world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Perfect.
That's the ones that are more well known. Yeah. When I first saw the '98 Godzilla, I didn't know there were other Godzilla films.
Oh yeah.
I was 10, 11, I don't know.
Over 20. It's quite wonderful. And then that Criterion box set that just came out with them. Oh, what a dream that's been.
Yeah, at that point there were 22 other films I could have. I don't know how readily available they are in the UK. So, glossing over the sperm bank discussion, fine. We then move on to the Americans are spying on the scientists, spying on Shiragami, but they too are being spied on by Super Secret Spy 9. And I was hoping that the rest of the film would just be a continuous pan back to the next people watching, pan back, like a just chain of 25 different agencies all
That'd be
spying.
hilarious.
Sadly not the case. And these Americans have some wonderful dialogue as well, where they're remarking on how attractive the lady that's come to see Shiragami is, and the other guy's, it's not a beauty contest. And it's just a
There's just the weirdest laughter too.
Later in the film, when they're trying to steal some more samples, and they get rumbled by Super Secret Spy number 9, one of them yells out, "Damn, we are Lethal Weapon!"
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what the intention was there. These are, as I understand it, American actors speaking English in the film, so this isn't a case of poor translation. They knew what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
They said it anyway.
It's delightful. It's so delightful because it's fun. It almost feels like even if it was English actors, like it was redubbed for some other reason.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. Okay, so they're all watching each other. Fine. Then we cut to the Psionics Institute of this school of psychic kids. Was there a bit where this was explained as to why there is a school of psychic kids, or did we just cut to a school of psychic kids?
They're There may have been a discussion about it in a previous film.
Okay.
But to my knowledge, this is kind of like a one-off because of the particular sister in the film who has those type of abilities. Like, she's just kind of used to it.
Fair enough. So at this school, one of my favourite shots in the film was they just talk to the kids and they're saying, "Oh, kids, what have you all been like dreaming about?" And they all just hold up pictures of they've all been dreaming about Godzilla. So they all hold up these pictures of Godzilla.
Yeah, good-looking picures, by the way.
I just love the shot of it.
Very impressed.
Yeah, just the shot of all of the kids holding up the pictures was great. It's like there's loads of them. That might be in the image for this picture for this podcast. I haven't decided yet, but I liked that. So there's one main psychic girl who has some kind of link with Godzilla. She kind of seems to know what Godzilla's up to various times. Later in the film, she can like connect to him, talk to him. So great. We also have there's quite a big military input in this film. We follow there's a military department whose job it is to just wait for Godzilla and then deal with him when he arrives. So they don't do a lot most of the time, and then when it comes time to it, they have a lot to do. Mm-hmm. And then a young major, I think he is,
Colonel,
who Sho Kuroki, played by Masanobu Takashima, who is like in charge of protecting the rest of Japan from Godzilla, it seems. So they have quite a big presence. He's got quite a lot of gadgets at his disposal, including the Super X2, which again I believe the X2 was in the previous film. Is that? Are you familiar with the Return of Godzilla? Have you watched that one a bunch or?
Not a bunch. I've watched it a handful of times, typically because I'll watch this and I'll go, "Oh yeah, I forgot this is directly after Return of Godzilla," so I'll go back and watch it. In Return of Godzilla, it was Super X, so this is the X2. It's the next version of.
Okay. So it's basically a minivan that can fly.
It's a Ford Windstar.
And it can fly without the aid of any kind of propellers or wings. Just has kind of jet propulsion stuff underneath it. It's a Godzilla film with psychic kids. Anything is possible. I'm fine with whatever. With a giant mutant plant, so fine. And it's got this front that opens like a sideways Pac-Man to reveal a bunch of diamonds that when Godzilla uses its fire breath directly at it, it can shine that back at Godzilla at a higher power. So good, but in this, you have Shirogami, our mad scientist, is brought in and talks to the other scientists who already work for the government. And in front of one guy's boss, Shirogami tells one of the scientists, "I don't believe you understand science very well." And that is just a sick burn on this guy. It's delivered so matter-of-factly, so deadpan, that guy's just never going to recover from that. Yeah. That's the end of his career.
There's some of them where they hit you like that, and you're like, man, but then there's lines that come a little bit after you're just like, well, now it's cheesy. Now you've ruined the severity or the strength of the previous line. Like there's a moment where they begin to discuss the Godzilla cell or the Godzilla gene, and the one guy's, "Hey, reality is reality," and we're like, "Oh, okay, well, we tried."
So they're having these talks about they're trying to develop this bacteria that eats nuclear material, basically, because they're concerned that Godzilla could come back, and they're trying to build up some kind of defense system. It's essentially Ultron. You know, that's aliens could come again. We just get something to go against it, and what they come up with is bacteria using plants. So Shirogami has taken some of the Godzilla cell, applied it to the plants, left it alone somewhere. Meanwhile, the Americans then go in to try and steal it. Whilst they're there, Dan, we lethal weapon, Super Secret Spy 9 shows up to take him out, and then one of the Americans gets killed by a Jumanji plant tentacle. Just kind of killed. One guy escapes. Triple S9 also escapes. And the scientists come back and they find the withered plant tentacle, and Biollante has escaped and is in a lake and is a giant plant. It's great. Love it.
Yeah, it's amazing, dude. Because it's like, who gave this the okay? Who said, yeah, let's make him fight a plant? And when you say it like that, you're like, yeah, okay. But then as you see the growth and the evolution of Biollante, you're like, okay, this is pretty serious. Like, it's actually not as like kind of ha-ha chuckle-worthy as you might think.
Well, you say who gave them the go-ahead. This was written as a contest.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was
It was a dentist.
A dentist, yeah.
Yeah.
As if there weren't enough parallels between this and The Little Shop of Horrors. This was written by a dentist.
Whose name was Herbie.
It says here, Dr. Oren Scrivelli, DDS, wrote the Godzilla vs. Biollante. So this was. I'm not sure how the contest came about, given this was the second in a new franchise era. But they made a film, and then they made another film. And some guy won a contest to write, and there was one of the Mecha Godzillas, I think, is also came about the same way. I'm not sure, but either way, so that's how this came about, and great. I think this is something different. I'm on board with it. I'm on board with this. Fantastic idea.
Yeah.
So the plot has escaped, and then it's just chilling out in a lake, not really bothering anyone. It's just kind of there,
doing his thing.
It's a big beanstalk with a rose on its head, essentially. On its head, it's a plant. Rose at the top of the stem. Meanwhile, they have the companies fighting with each other and they say that if you don't release the research or something, they'll set off the bombs. Cue a big action sequence to try and stop this big switch in the back of a van from being detonated. They fail, and so the bomb goes off, and Godzilla wakes up. But in that failing sequence, they fail because the bloody Triple S9 shows up and shoots people. And I just found it very funny watching him run down a flight of stairs. He's not doing it in any way that's particularly amusing. It's just there's an action sequence, and then we just watch this guy run down an entire flight of stairs.
Mm-hmm.
I was just tickled by that.
Just running down there. And what I also like, too, is throughout the film, in the very beginning of the film, we're just hit with several title cards from screenshots of computers, and it's just telling you, here are the different alerts. Here's the different alarms when Godzilla shows up.
Warning system, yeah.
And I just like that when these moments happen, all of a sudden it's like, bang, one of them show up on the screen, and then they just get right back to it. And it's like, wait, so he's coming? So it's just like general build-up for like as he arrives and comes back. And I think like that adds to a little bit of the intensity of the film, but then there's some other things that take that away, so it really ends up like just kind of evening things out.
Yeah. It's partly quite a serious Godzilla film, but also very, very silly at times.
Oh yeah, of course.
And I don't mind that just juxtaposition. I was absolutely okay with it. And I don't think him running down the stairs was supposed to be funny.
No.
Because you see him go down, it's a huge flight of stairs, and you watch him go the entire way.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some stuff that's not supposed to be, but it just is. Like how abrupt and jarring some of the edits are. Like, there's no fade. It's just, here's the scene and done. All the sound is cut and we're on to the next thing. When they're zooming in on Biollante and the cells, and we're seeing, like, underneath the blue microscope color, how, like, oh, these are how the cells grow and mutate, and all of a sudden, bang, like, here's a helicopter doing something. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah. Or the way that Triple S9 shoots the guy who was driving the truck, despite the truck was driving away from him. Yeah. So he had no clear shot, but he still managed to shoot him in the head.
That's just how good he is, dude.
Yeah, he's just that good. It's great. So they don't quite turn the switch off in time. Godzilla escapes. And then, just another wonderful bit. There's a news broadcast. There's an emergency news bulletin that Godzilla has escaped and is on the rampage. And this cuts into a real show hosted by a guy called Demon Kagure.
Yeah.
Who, otherwise known as Demon Kaka, who has... Maybe like an Alice Cooper kind of character. I'm not sure.
Seemed like it to me.
But what I kind of dug into this guy a little bit. This guy has a very small acting career. He voiced the Jack Nicholson Joker role for the Japanese edition of Batman '89.
Really?
Yes. I think that's great. I haven't listened to any footage from doing that. Actually, no, I have. I found some on YouTube, and it's great. It's as you'd expect. He's